we want to make it so that much more people are going to be able to build software and to just tell their computer what to do. And they found that Devin today actually is already doing more than the work of 10 software engineers at their company. And typically the way that we've seen folks use it best is essentially by becoming a manager of Devins.
今、世界が注目するスコット・ウー氏。彼が生み出したのは、設計からリリースまで自ら行う完全自律型 AI エージェント Devin。アメリカのウォール・ストリート・ジャーナルが特集し、ゴールドマン・サックスは導入テストを開始。パープレキシティ AI の CEO も人間の限界を超える初のエージェントと称賛。創業半年で企業価値20億ドル、現在では100億ドル、約 1.5 兆円規模の評価額になるまでに急成長。AI と人間の未来に対し、スコット・ウー氏に単独インタビュー。
どういうものなのかをちょっと簡単にお伺いしてもよろしいでしょうか。
So Devin is an AI software engineer, and it's what's known as a full autonomous agent. And what that means is that it can iterate and use tools and interact with the environment much the same way that a human would. And so in addition to writing code, for example, Devin is also able to go and run code itself. It's able to go read documentation. It's able to access logs. It's able to run shell commands and all of the various things that you would need to do for a software development lifecycle. In practice today, Devin is used in production by thousands of companies and is best at working on large existing code bases.
思う強みと弱みを教えていただけますでしょうか。
So there are a lot of tools that focus on enhancing the speed at which an engineer can produce code when they are typing on the keyboard. And these are, they're often referred to as AI copilots or AI IDEs and so on. And these are great tools. So I think there are a lot of products that build there are a lot of companies that build products in code, such as Microsoft's GitHub Copilot or OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, and things like that. But in many ways, we find that actually these tools are very complementary. And so actually we partner with these same companies because our product gives a very different experience in coding than their products do. Devin is very different in that Devin is much more autonomous. So Devin goes and takes actions on its own. And so the usage pattern of using Devin is typically more like handing Devin a task and then Devin will work for several minutes or even a couple hours at once. And then after that, Devin will send you its work and you can review or give feedback or adjust much the same way that you would work with one of your own coworkers.
うまく活用している企業とか個人の方っていうのはいらっしゃいますでしょうか。
So Devin is best for the repetitive or tedious work that takes a lot of time. So we are live in production with thousands of companies, and the customers that we work with range from very small startups all the way to some of the biggest banks in the whole world. And just to give a few examples of companies who have used Devin, Nubank, for example, is a big bank in Brazil that has used Devin a lot for the last almost a year now, or more than a year now, actually, and has gotten a ton of value dealing with big data ETL migrations, or handling version upgrades, or .NET upgrades, or things like that. Built is another big company, is another company based in the US, a financial rewards company that uses Devin all the time. And they found that Devin today actually is already doing more than the work of 10 software engineers at their company. And then Webnull actually is a company in Tokyo who uses a lot of Devin. It's a startup that is building an AI. And recently they have found that 39% of all of their code now is actually written by Devin. And typically the way that we've seen folks use it best is essentially by becoming a manager of Devins. And so for a single engineer, they can now become a manager of their own team of multiple Devins, and they can work with each of their Devins to handle tasks. And You need to manage Devin well. You need to give tasks of the right level of difficulty. You need to break down instructions to the right level of granularity. But once you do that well, you're able to see a lot of success. And across the board, we see this on a lot of use cases. But to name a few use cases, migrations, refactor, modernization, testing, bug fixing, documentation, and so on, building integrations, and many more.
AI を使うにあたっての留意すべき点をちょっと今のお話を踏まえてお伺いできればなと思います。
Ever since we started on this kind of AI software engineering, of course, real world software engineering is very messy. And so we have spent a lot of our time tackling these practical challenges of how to work alongside your AI. And human review, obviously, is, first of all, I think that these systems need human review today. And so with Devin, for example, Devin will never merge code directly to production. Devin will create a pull request, for example, or a diff for the user to review. And if the user thinks that it looks good, then they are responsible for merging it. And so, of course, we think that having this review system is very important. But secondly, I would say that the one important feature that allows humans to trust AI is the practical verification loop. And so in AI today, there are often a lot of cases of things like hallucinations or mistakes or just general reasoning errors. And one of the important features of an agent that's very valuable is the ability to have work that it can verify. And so it is made so that it is very easy for a user to monitor and see all of the work that Devin did. And for example, Devin often will actually even send screenshots of its work. And so if it makes a change to your front-end code, for example, it will send you a screenshot of here's what it looks like before, and here's what it looks like after, and here are the things that I tested, and show that these things worked. And so that helps to build trust.
Devin を使って開発されたソフトウェアのユーザーの視点で
And another thing I'd say will change is software everywhere will just become much better. I think we will have higher standards ourselves on how good software needs to be or how personalized software needs to be when it becomes much easier to build software. And my favorite example for this is today there are about 30 million software engineers. 25 years ago, in the year 2000, actually there were less than 1 million engineers. And so the number of software engineers has grown dramatically, even though it's actually gotten much easier to write software. In fact, because it's gotten much easier to write software, right? And what happens is we build much more software. The software that we build has higher and higher quality standards, and we're able to do much more. I think that already people are able to just build more and do more with the help of Devin. And over time, we want to do, of course, make Devin even more capable. Obviously, there is so much more that exists in software today that didn't exist in the year 2000. And I suspect that we will see an even steeper curve into how much software is built over the next few years. But I think the thing that's interesting is the AI really is best at tasks that are repetitive or that are very boilerplate. Implementation, debugging, handling, testing and documentation or things like that. But obviously it is up to the human to decide what to build and to make the high-level strategic decisions, architecture, and trade-offs and product decisions and so on. And I think as time goes on, engineering will be more and more about understanding these higher-level skills actually, rather than just kind of rather than this kind of more like debugging, implementation type skill. And we're very excited for people to build much more. Yeah.
今後、デビンを進化させていく上で何を重視されて進化させていく
We have a lot to build to make it easier and easier to develop software with Devin. Broadly, the two biggest categories of improvements that we make, one are the capabilities of making Devin smarter or better able to use tools or better at planning or making decisions. And two is the interaction model, I'll say, which is how humans should be working with Devin. And so, for example, in the first category, we have a lot of systems where, now, for example, Devin has much stronger intelligence and understanding of the code base than it did before. It can build representations of the code base based on all of the references in the code, the previous commits, a lot of the various other documentation that exists in the code already, and so on. For the second case, some examples of things that we do with that, we actually recently shipped a confidence model in Devin. And so now when you give Devin a task, Devin will actually give you a color, green, yellow, or red, for how confident it is in its understanding of the task. And green means I know what to do, here are the files that need to change. Yellow or red, for example, means I'm not sure, and so I would like to clarify certain things. And as you can imagine, it makes it much easier for a human to work with Devin. So we are all programmers, and we love to build software. And we really want to make it much easier to build software. And we call our discipline software engineering or programming or coding, but really the whole point of software engineering is to tell your computer what to do. And we want to make it so that much, much more people are going to be able to build software and to just tell their computer what to do.
ビジネスプラス IT ムークをご視聴いただき誠にありがとうございました。本動画の前編はメンバーシップかビジネスプラス IT の動画チャンネルでご視聴いただけます。ぜひご覧ください。